What's up, everybody? I'm Encore, and this is your daily reminder that tomorrow never comes. What does that mean? So that means that none of our tomorrows are guaranteed. So let's stop putting off things that we wanted to look into or we wanted to do tomorrow or some far off time period, unknown time period, and let's get it done today. As it pertains to me and this channel, what is being put off for tomorrow or sometime in the future and not looked at today is crypto and the crypto space as a whole. And my job and what not job, what I love to do here is to provide value and hopefully give you guys that little nudge, that little push that maybe you need to kind of just do your own research, jump into the space and kind of really see what it's about. And if you are one of those who are dismissing it offhand, I would implore you to educate yourselves, look into a little bit more before dismissing it outright. So hopefully, I can provide some of that for you. And in order to do that today, I'm going to share with you guys a very special video that I caught wind of. It was actually posted a year ago. It's by a pioneer in the crypto space, Andreas Antonopoulos. He's what we call an OG in the space. He's been in probably, I think, since 2010. No, probably no later than 2011, that's for sure. And he just goes around speaking about Bitcoin, speaking about crypto, blockchain, and its value, really. So not an Avenger, not a fiery, you need to do this, end of the world type speaker, just very matter of fact, a lot of common sense and good analogies. So I wanted to share this video with you guys, and we'll kind of go over some of the points, of what he's talked about and what he's trying to say and how valuable it is. So, and I will put the link to the full video here in the description below, and I hope you guys do watch all of it. It's definitely something it's something that allows you to understand yourself for sure, but explain it even better to others who may be asking. Right? Sometimes things click, little pieces, bits and pieces click for us in crypto, but we're not able to explain it to someone else appropriately. It works for us, maybe not for them. And it may not even after explaining some of this, but it's a better understanding. It's a simpler way of kind of defining things and seeing really the common sense behind the technology. So I just wanted to get into it here, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. So let's start.
Automobiles, great invention. And of course, when automobiles were invented, everyone in the world went, yay, we don't need horses anymore, right? That's not exactly what happened. Instead, they said, that's crazy. Those noisy, disgusting machines that are probably going to kill us all will never work. And why would anyone other than stupid rich people playing with these crazy, noisy toys want to use one of these horrible machines when we have perfectly good horses? That's actually what happens in history when you introduce a disruptive technology. We meet resistance. Resistance is the first reaction. And
so right there, when you say these noisy machines that only the rich will use or play with, if you kind of think about it, one of the biggest headlines over the last little while for Bitcoin and mining in general has been the use of energy and how that's bad for the climate. And, it's got to find a better way, right? Or it's not a clean way of mining. And so trying to undermine the value of Bitcoin and crypto in general, just from a climate point of view or a resources point of view. So very similar to that. Also, when you look at the price of Bitcoin or ETH as well, but mainly Bitcoin, as the price goes up and has continued to go up, most people kind of equate it to the stock market, right? Where you can only buy one share at a certain price. Here, when you look at the price of Bitcoin, whether it's in the 40,000s, the 50,000s, right now it's about 38,000. People just think, well, I can't afford that, so I'm not going to, it makes no sense. When in essence, you can actually buy fractions of it, right? So $10, $15 worth of Bitcoin, you can buy, you don't need to buy the entire thing. So very similar to what he's saying about how people viewed the automobile. So let's go to the next clip here.
They were doing was correct. So looking at that history, one of the really interesting things to me is the fact that in the beginning, the disruptive technology has to live in a world created for the technology it's replacing. So when you first ride your brand new automobile in a city, you are riding on roads designed and used by horses, with infrastructure designed and used for horses. There are no light signals, there are no road rules, there are no paved roads, right? You are in horse society, and you are the crazy one driving one of these vehicles.
So here's this whole concept of the video itself, is what he calls infrastructure inversion. You guys can see the title there. And so what that means is that when there's a new technology coming up and starting to, put its fingers into different pockets or infiltrate certain industries, it has to live on the existing infrastructure first, right? So in this particular example, he's talking about the invention of the automobile, and how the first few automobiles, they had to still be, they had to go on roads that were actually made for horses. So horses have four legs, they have balance and flexibility, so they can, they're on dirt roads, no big deal. The roads don't have to be paved, they don't have to be perfect. So all of these designs that were made for the horse is not ideal for the car or the automobile, right? So, but because that's what's existing at that time, that's what you have to play with in the beginning. And then as time goes on, then the infrastructure can start changing towards the new technology. And so we're going to go to the next clip here.
It didn't start out with, yes, great, we have now invented an automobile, allow me to demonstrate on the Autobahn, right? No. Instead, the crazy rich people who are experimenting with this technology were driving their cars in these roads with deep ruts where the horses had been, in roads not designed for automobiles, in mud. And what happens? The cars got stuck because they didn't have balance and 4 feet. So everybody went, this is never going to work. Look, you can't even get out of the mud. And also, where are you going to get gasoline? There's no gasoline stations, right? There's one gasoline station. What happens if you run out of gasoline before you get there? I mean, if your horse gets hungry, you can at least go a few more miles. But if your new crazy car idea runs out of gasoline, that's it. You're stuck. You were already stuck because of the mud, but now you're really stuck because you ran out of gasoline. This is never going to work.
And so there's that narrative again, right? It's never going to work. Anyone and everyone who dismisses new technology. Now, today, this conversation is around Bitcoin and crypto. But you look at it from the automobile to electricity to the internet, that narrative always is the very first narrative that comes into play. It's never going to work. And you'll have a laundry list of reasons why it won't work from people who are entrenched in the old infrastructure, right? So everyone who loved riding horses, or were comfortable with it, or who made profits from having businesses around horse-drawn businesses, they're never going to want or never can think of what new infrastructure would be like, and they always see it as a negative. So when you look at Bitcoin and you look at crypto, that's the very first thing that comes out of someone's mouth, is why it can't work, why it won't work, and it's ludicrous. So what he's saying here, now he goes into depth in this video on electricity and the internet as well, but I thought the automobile was a very simple explanation for everything. And I just want to finish it off with this very last clip that he kind of touches on.
Never going to work. But what we do have, just like with electricity and the automobile and the internet, is we have a new technology that has within it the promise of 1,000 other applications they haven't even imagined. And this is my prediction. we're going to see over the next 15 to 20 years a great infrastructure inversion that will happen in finance. What will happen is the banks will resist, then the banks will adopt, then the banks will run their systems alongside blockchain and Bitcoin systems. And finally, they will run all of traditional banking as an application on top of a decentralized trusted ledger. Because while it is very hard to...
So that's where I wanted to kind of leave you guys with this video, is that he kind of summed everything up, but he related it into the financial sector. And that's really what everyone, when you think of crypto, or most people think of crypto, all they think about is Bitcoin, right? Now the narrative kind of changes towards ETH, but for the most part, it's Bitcoin, and people think cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, it's going to be currency, so they think financial sector, and it'll never work because of, the banks. It'll never work because there's no regulation. It'll never work because we're so entrenched and used to the current system, right? So he kind of laid out how it works in terms of resistance, and then how it slowly moves into adoption. And that's how it's been for every new technology that's come out, right? So this whole infrastructure inversion is, all it means is old infrastructure, old technology getting replaced with the new one. So the new technology sits on top of the old one for a while as people get more and more comfortable with it, and then slowly things start to flip, right? So now, if we go back to the automobile and the horse-drawn carriage, or the horses, you started with the dirt roads, you pave you get the cars on top, so the cars have to be on the old infrastructure. Then you pave the roads, so it's so now we're building around the new technology, but that new technology still allows now the old horses to ride comfortably on these actual new roads. So then the old system starts to run better within the new infrastructure. So in this case, banking works as it does now, a lot of delays, a lot of middlemen, all that kind of stuff. We're going to put blockchain technology, Bitcoin and blockchain technology on top. For now, it's clunky, it's slow, a lot of things happen. So people laugh and discredit it. And then as adoption starts to kind of move more towards more adoption, really mass adoption, then the banking system is going to trying to figure out, and it's already in the process of figuring how to work within the blockchain infrastructure. And then slowly over time, blockchain becomes the new infrastructure of which the banks work on top of, instead of blockchains working on top of the traditional finance infrastructure. So it's just something, again, he does a much, much better job of explaining things, obviously, than I do. And I implore you guys to watch the video in its entirety. I mean, the things that he says about the internet and electricity as well, really put things into perspective, and you'll understand how what we're going through now is no different than what has happened in the past, right? He said something about hindsight brings clarity. Hindsight is 2020. So we all look back at, cars overtaking, horses, or electricity taking over gas, or the internet taking over, phones and all kinds of non-internet based things that we used to do. And it seems like a no-brainer, right? Now you look back and you're like, I can't even imagine a world without those things. But in the process of that transition, we had the same type of resistance and pushback that we're getting today with blockchain technology, and specifically Bitcoin. So I want you guys to understand that. I want you guys to kind of see that, zoom out. I always preach, we don't care so much about price action, caring about fundamentals, right? Fundamentals. So I hope this video shared a bunch of tips, a bunch of ways to understand, really, and that's how I kind of put it, is common sense behind the technology. That's how I view this video. And things will start to click a lot better, and make things a little bit more feasible if someone were to ask you about blockchain and how it works, and really, why is it relevant, and why will it work in the future. So hopefully that provided you guys some value. And definitely check out Andreas Antonopoulos, his videos, his books, all of that good stuff. He really goes into really good depth about the technology, but also about just how it works in relation to historical transitions that we've had. Check it out, guys. Hope you enjoy. We'll catch you in the next one.